Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Shell Tells All. So today this video is going to be about Michael and I, our relationship, kids, divorce. Just joking. Just joking. Let's cut that out. Today's video is going to be about Michael and I, how we met, our marriage, children, and just kind of doing like a life update between him and I. So without further ado, let's welcome my Michelangelo, who is my husband, to my channel. All right, so we are going to start off with how we met. Do you want to answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
how did we meet?
We met through a mutual friend.
Right.
And I don't know what she told you, but I know that she said, "Hey, I have a friend I think you should meet." Should I fast forward, or you want me to go like in depth?
Yeah, you can go in depth. Michael and I just want to start off with by saying is that we are both from Monterey County area. We met in the Monterey County area, and we did not meet in Long Beach, even though we moved out to Long Beach about, what now, 3 years ago? 4 years ago? I don't know. So,
yeah, 2018 we moved here.
Right, so as you were saying, we have a mutual friend.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend that pretty much just introduced us, or I think I got your number from her, or something like that. And I texted Rochelle, and I think you just didn't text me back.
I didn't text him back, not because like I didn't want to meet him or I wasn't interested. But yeah, I was actually hanging out with her, and we were playing Guitar Hero, and I think we had like went to Taco Bell, which is like one of my favorite places to go to. So I think hours kind of passed by, and then I ended up sending you like a message.
I think it was like hours. I think it was like a day.
Oh, was it a day?
I think it was way longer than that.
So he remembers things a little differently than I do.
Because I remember thinking like, okay, well, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, she introduced us. And we started talking on text message. We started talking on
AOL.
AOL, Instant AIM.
Yes.
I think we even talked on like Yahoo Messenger for some reason. Also, we talked on like MySpace messages.
Yeah. So it was back in those days where MySpace like with the top 8 was like a thing.
2008.
Yeah. So we started to talk, and I think the very first time I actually met Michael in person was at a Halloween party, right? Was that our first time meeting?
I thought it was McDonald's.
Okay, maybe you're right. Okay, so we're gonna backtrack a little. I actually met Michael. I was at a volleyball game for Gonzales, right? I came to visit, and I ended up going with a friend to McDonald's, and you ended up being there. I don't know if that was on purpose, but you just...
No, I was already there.
Oh, okay. Like, yeah, I didn't know. Okay, our first time meeting was at McDonald's. I was leaving a volleyball game with a friend, and I ended up going there. I ended up I ordered a Big Mac, and you happened to be there, and you sat there, and I was so embarrassed because I was like, oh shoot, I'm eating a Big Mac in front of this guy. I mean, obviously I eat anything now in front of him, but yes, you're right. That was our first time like meeting.
Yeah.
And we maybe exchanged
that was
small
like,
conversation, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, that was like an unplanned like run in.
Our first time actually hanging out was at a Halloween party.
And that is so funny because if you know me and Rochelle, you know that we both like at the time, I guess now because we have kids, we're like, oh, let's dress them up. But
yeah,
at that time, we both despised Halloween. Like, we both hated dressing up for Halloween. I don't even think I even dressed up to this Halloween. I was probably like one of the only people that wasn't dressed up at this Halloween party. Yeah,
and this was my actual first time dressing up, and I think I was a stupid little ladybug. Our first time hanging out was at a Halloween party.
That we were aware of and that we had planned, and we both knew each other was going to be there. Yeah.
Right, and I think that's just kind of the gist on like how we started like meeting, and from there I think it's just history. We hung out all the time. Actually, I wanted to share on how Michael was introduced to my family. So as Michael and I were texting a lot, I ended up wanting him to come over and visit. And so like I had asked my dad I was like, hey, like, Dad, can this guy Michael come over? And he was like, Michael, who's Michael? And I was like, oh, just a friend of mine. He was like, okay. Well, first I asked my mom, and then my mom was like, well, just ask your dad. My mom had no problem, but my dad I was a little nervous of. Anyways, he comes over, and typically, like, people will be like, do you want this? And you're more than likely to say, no, that's okay. Well, we had spaghetti that day, and I had asked Michael, I was like, do you want spaghetti? And he was like, yeah, of course. I did not expect him to want food at all. He ended up eating all of our spaghetti that day. And
yeah, I think you offered just to be like generous
yeah.
and courteous. Like, you know, when you say, like, do you want water? And you like expect them to say no. And you're just asking just to be,
yeah,
be nice.
But he ended up wanting the spaghetti.
Hey, I'm Filipino. When you ask if you want food, then it's almost rude to say no. So.
And now everybody asks if he wants leftovers, and he'll take them. So typically, though, I don't like leftovers, so we'll just kind of give them to Michael when we're all done. So that's just kind of our relationship, and I think we, you know, at that point,
we're always hanging out with each other. We both work in restaurants.
No, we started to go to
we
community college.
Oh yeah, we went to junior college together.
We worked in retail. You were working at Paxson, and I was working at Hollister.
Yeah, we worked in retail
and then we got into the restaurant business. Michael was working at Chili's, which is how I met a lot of my close friends, and I started working at Olive Garden. And then after that, we just decided to pursue our degrees. Yeah. We moved to Long Beach, which was probably one of the best parts of our life, right? 7 years down there. And then we decided we wanted to have a family and buy a home. So we ended up moving back to the Monterey County area. We bought a home. We were actually lived with my parents for a year to save money. We bought a home, moved into our home, and now we have 2 beautiful boys and 2 dogs. So we've been blessed, and that's just kind of where we are right now with our lives. Yeah.
That's it in a gist, pretty much. That's like the condensed version of 14 years.
Now that we've shared kind of how we met and where we're at, and we had asked a while back some questions on Instagram, and we got some questions from you guys. So we wanted to take some time and answer some of those today, and we will get started. Are you ready? Okay. So
these are some pretty interesting questions. Okay.
Okay. So the first question is future goals. Moving anywhere? More babies? Side emoji? Side-eye emoji? You want to go ahead and...
Yeah, future goals. Like personal future goals or like work future goals? I guess future goals, we want to, I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head. We want to rent out this house.
Right.
And move somewhere else, which is like, I don't know, kind of the main goal right now.
We want to move closer to Monterey. We feel like Michael's business is out there. It just makes sense since we're always out there anyways. And our families are moving towards northern, east, some, out that way. So it's just like nothing's keeping us in this small town anymore.
Yeah.
So.
And also like we're just so used to kind of like being a part of not like a big town, because Long Beach wasn't a big town or a big city, but we're just kind of, I guess we're more used to being a part of like a community of like, I don't know, where things are happening and things are growing and evolving and changing, and Monterey just seems to be like kind of what we're more familiar with in comparison to Long Beach. So yeah, I guess that's one goal that we're trying to do. Moving in, okay, well that answers that. More babies. This has been the topic of our relationship and conversation right now. We have 2 kids. I always
under 2.
Yeah, 2 under 2 right now. Which anytime I tell someone we have 2 under 2, they're just like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy." But
no, we're not crazy. We're doing it right. I'm sure if some people could have them back to back, they would have. But we're doing it right.
But yeah, like I've always told Rochelle, like even from the get-go, even when we were really young, like 18, 19, 20, and talking about how much kids you guys want and stuff, from the get-go, like from day one, I've always said I want 2. 2 girls, 2 boys, 1 boy, 1 girl. Like, I'm good. Like, I don't think I want any more than 2. And now we have 2. And
well,
yeah.
to answer that, for me, I've always wanted 5. Now that I have my 2 beautiful boys, like, I do want 1 more. And if that means having another boy, that means having another boy. Do I know it's hard? Do I know it's a lot of work? Absolutely. But I love my babies, and who knows? So we are going to revisit this topic in about 3 years and kind of see where we're at. 3 years and see where we're at. No, we're not going to revisit in 4 years. I don't know if I can do that. And if it's not in God's plan, that's fine. And we will be happy with our beautiful family. But if we do decide to grow, we will. But we'll talk about that later. So right now, our focus is on just our boys, and we are okay with that right now. But I eventually would like to have more kids. All right, next question. How to keep the spark in a long marriage? Good question. So Michael and I actually, when we were talking about how we met, I was 17 going on 18 and you were 18, right? So I met him going into my senior year. So we've been together since we were 18. I am 31, Michael is 32. So we've been together for a very long time. Prior to that, we were together for 8 years before getting engaged, and it got to the point where I was like, all right, either I'm going to propose to you or I don't know what's happening with us.
Yeah, she said after I proposed to her, she's like, oh, I was going to do it because I proposed on year 8, like on our 8-year anniversary. And after I proposed, she was like, oh, good, because I was going to do it on year 9. And all of our friends and family were there, and they probably thought it was a joke. But between me and Rochelle, like, we both knew, like, she was actually probably serious. Most likely serious.
All right. So how to keep the spark in a long marriage?
Well, we've been married for 4 years, so I don't know if that's considered a long marriage, but in a long term.
How do we keep the spark?
Rochelle's a lot better than this, but
better than in what?
Like keeping the spark, because.
Well, I think you too. I think you have a big role in it as well. I will have to say, to speak on my end, is I tried to remember Michael's love languages. So his is more of like his physical. Mm-hmm. Are you thinking something like what?
No, I was just thinking how like you're always telling me I'm always working, and you're like, come on, just please take a night off, or like please let's do.
Like I'm trying to like make time for each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was gonna say that, like, make time for each other.
Yeah, make time for each other. I'm all like kind of backtracking as to what I was saying too, is like I always try to keep in mind like his love language and how I can meet that how I can just speak to his love language is what I'm just trying to get at. And I think the number one, the spark, it's not saying like how to make a marriage work, it's just saying like how do you keep the spark in it. And I try to do just little things. I try to remind him like how hard of a worker, he is, which you really are. One thing I really love about Michael is his initiation with both of our children. I feel like I have support. So I really just try to give you a lot of words of affirmation. He is such a touchy person and I'm opposite. So I have to make sure that, I am fulfilling his cup and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing in, keeping the spark is like don't get like in a routine. Like don't wake up, go to work, take care of the kids, and then go to bed. Like, I mean, we all need routine in our life, but for me and Rochelle, like, and everyone says this, they're like, you guys are like never home. Like, yeah, we're young, we have 2 kids, and we just want to enjoy life. And I guess when you get kids, like, you just realize how fast life goes. So like we try to get out of the house as much as possible, and we try to break the routine, as much as we can, and just spend quality time with each other. And so getting out of the house is like our way of kind of like breaking the routine and doing something different. And we're always trying to like figure out stuff to do. Like Rochelle's always like, hey, there's this thing in Monterey, do you want to go? So I think that's another way, just like
doing things together. Make sure you are doing things, and it's just small little things too. It's like, for example, today my parents were over and I was like, Michael, come over here. Like we don't, sometimes it's hard for us to get a moment just to talk to each other and be with each other. So just making sure you make that time, because after having the children, like are constantly on the go, and we have to make sure that we're making time for one another, making sure that we, you know, tell each other that we love each other and are sending those cute, corny text messages, doing those corny TikTok videos that my niece thinks are corny.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever, and just making each other laugh. Like, I like to do funny stuff. Michael does funny stuff all the time too. So I think that's one thing I really cherish about our marriage, is that we can make each other laugh.
Yeah.
And we do some of the dumbest things, but I love it.
Yeah, and that, and like, just like, don't forget like who you were, like when you guys were, when we met. Like we've always been like, no matter how many times our life has changed, no matter the career changes, no matter, you know, whatever's going on in our life, like me and Rochelle like have continued to like be that those 18-year-olds that kind of just like first met, and we just like do dumb stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, and probably not as much as we did before, because we
Yeah.
have the two boys and we need to be a little bit more smart. But I mean, honestly, like, and yeah, I'm sure if me and Rochelle had the opportunity, we would probably do some really irresponsible stuff.
Yeah. But not illegal. But
yeah, not illegal. Just a little bit.
All right.
But yeah, just keep being fun and making time for each other. I guess that's how you keep the spark.
Yeah.
At least for us.
Yes. How do you plan / budget for traveling? So
Oh, I didn't even read that one. Okay.
I
Yeah,
will
go
share
ahead.
something that's kind of helped us out along the way. One is credit cards. No, I'm just joking. No. What has helped Michael and I feel like in your business, and I hope it's okay that I share this, but when people do tip Michael, whether that's cash or in some form of payment, we put that to the side. So slowly that starts to build up for us. And
Yeah.
that kind of allows us to, you know, say, hey, like, let's take a trip to Disneyland. Let's go here and let's book a hotel. So that has allowed us to, again, like, save money and be able to do things. I don't know how else, like, how do you plan / budget for traveling?
Well, there's like two answers to this question. Before kids, we didn't budget. We were just like, this is the day we're gonna go on. Let's try to save as much as we can and be mindful.
Right.
And then on that day or the day before, it's like, okay, well, this is how much we have, and let's just do this with how much we have. And then now it's, I'm just really fortunate that I get tipped very generously, and I don't expect it. I don't even, require, or I don't know. I don't even say for couples to like tip me. I just,
we count it as a blessing for us. So like I said, at the end of the day, we're just, whatever he gets, we put it in an envelope, we put it to the side, and we budget our money from there to be able to afford and travel. Yeah. I mean, obviously some of that comes out of our own paychecks as well, but for the most part, we're thinking ahead, like, oh, we want to go to this place next year or this in a couple months, and we want to be mindful of that. So that's kind of how we've been able to plan and budget. So if you get tips as a server, put them away if you can.
Hey, that's server life, man.
Next question is, if you could grant your partner one wish, what would that be?
You go first. I don't even know what I would.
Okay, I think my wish for Michael would be if you could grant your partner, which is me.
So I give you one wish?
Yeah, what would that wish be? I hope I'm answering this correctly, but my wish for Michael would be that he is able to, let me make sure I put this correctly and I'm saying it correctly. My wish for Michael would be to travel more for his business.
Oh, okay. I see. I was thinking something completely different. No. I think maybe you're right. Okay.
I am right. I typically am right. So we're just going to go with that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. My wish that I could grant Rochelle would be that she finds a career, or she finds something that she loves doing and that she finds purpose in, and just it just satisfies all of her her wants and needs from financial standpoint and from like a mental state happiness standpoint.
Because right now I don't have purpose at my job or anything.
You're saying that like...
I'm saying that sarcastically.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just
well,
saying
and I just kind of want to like clear that up, is that I love what I do. I love my job. I just feel that sometimes there is a lot of pressure put on me at my job. So I want to just like say that I love what I do. It's just, I've gotten to a point where I feel like, is it my happiness or is it the money that I'm in it?
Well, that's why I said like, that fulfills your happiness and your...
Yeah, well, I understand, but those that don't understand, that are watching or are new to this channel, I want you guys to understand that I love what I do, but it's not worth the money and the stress. Like, my happiness comes before all of that, and I'm realizing that, and I'm okay with that too. So yeah, I had a feeling you were gonna say something like that.
I had a feeling you were gonna say something like that.
Oh my gosh, we're so in sync. Like, not like in sync, but like...
Well, that's why we're both wearing turquoise blue.
Okay, next question. What's something you do for each other you personally aren't a fan of doing? Go ahead, you can go ahead and answer that, because I'm sure there's tons.
There are tons. I have a list. I'm
personally not a fan of doing. It's okay, you can be honest.
So I'm personally not a fan of something that you... Okay, I see. Okay.
What's something you do for each other you personally aren't a fan of doing?
Honestly, to be honest, like, if I wasn't a fan of doing it, then I wouldn't do it.
I'm trying to think.
And I don't think you make me like... I hate doing the dishes, but I do them. But that's not... that's the only thing that comes to mind is like...
I will say at night, I'm like, do you want me to grab the boys and like take them a bath
I will literally take both boys over doing the dishes. Like, I don't care.
You want to know how lazy he is? He will try to use one dish for everything. He's like, nope, I'm not going to dirty it. Oh, nope, I'm not cooking. He won't cook sometimes because he's like, no, we're going to make dishes. I'm like, how else are you supposed to cook?
And I'll also like cut on a napkin to keep
Get
from like...
plastic forks, knives. I mean, I'm all for that.
I used to love it when we had plastic cutlery, but I guess, yeah, I mean, if Rochelle asked me to do the dishes or clean, like, I guess, but I mean, I guess, yeah, to answer that question, I'm not a fan of cleaning or doing, in particularly doing the dishes, and if Rochelle asked me to do them, I guess I'll do them, but like, for Rochelle specifically, like, I don't think she even really asked me to do anything that I'm like not a fan. What I'm thinking of that question is asking is like, oh, can you give me like a massage? And I don't really like doing massages. Because that's extracurricular, right? Like, doing the dishes that has to get done is just something I despise doing.
Well, I don't know. I was just going to say something like...
Okay, how about you answer that question then?
Well, I don't know if this falls in it too. I guess we're just going to answer it the way that we feel like is best for
interpret it.
Yeah, we interpret it. I'm not a fan of something you do for each other you personally aren't a fan of doing. Like, if you had asked me to do something and I'm already have a lot on my plate, like I'm stressed, I have to get things done, and then having to like do an extra thing, I don't know, I hope I'm answering that correctly, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of like doing it. And even though I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, Rochelle, like put it on your to-do list because Michael would do it for you. So I eventually get to it, but yeah, I would have to say that is like when you're giving me, which is rarely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we no matter what we do for each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question.
Next question.
Okay. All right. So next question is.
Go ahead. Ask it.
Has Michael been introduced to your fart talent?
Just to answer that question, plain and simple.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I 100% have. I'd actually, if I haven't, and it's been like 14 years, I would actually feel bad for this woman. Like,
oh, my stomach would hurt.
Yeah,
There's
like
no way.
if you can't do like, what do you call that?
Gastrointestinal. No, I don't know.
No, like what do you call those like things? Like if you can't burp or if you can't fart in front of your spouse and you've been together for more than like, if you've been with someone for more than maybe 3 or 4 years and you can't fart.
Yeah.
Or, go to the bathroom with the door open.
Then
that's a red flag. I'm going to be honest. That's a red flag. Just get out as soon as possible. Because if you can't do that and live together, then honestly, there's not much else you can,
I mean, I don't know how to say it, but I will like sit there watching fart videos. I mean, it's just something that makes me laugh and I can like tear up watching it. I actually purchased my own fart spray off of Amazon and I did a prank on Michael. I mean, I just think that they're funny and...
She loves anything fart related. Her farts, my farts, the kids' farts, fart videos. Like,
no,
she
not
can watch
Michael.
them.
I can watch them. That's the thing. I can watch them, but smelling them is like not something I want to do. But I just think that they're funny. Okay, so we have a couple more questions. Next question is, how did you know that Michael or Rochelle was the right person for you?
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to?
Yes, I want you to. I've been starting all the questions.
Because you've been taking the initiative to start the question. I swear, this is like his.
Take the initiative to answer a question.
Okay, so I will have to say is that I knew that Michael was it's so funny because when I met Michael, I remember leaving somewhere and I remember going to one of my friends and I was like, yep, like we were just friends at the time. I was like, yep, Michael's going to be my boyfriend. I already know it. We ended up becoming a couple, but how did I know that he was the right person for me as a husband is because what I loved about our relationship is we became friends, then we became best friends, and we found similarities within our values, our faith, which connected us too. And I saw how what really actually reminded me of why I felt like we were just compatible as a couple was he reminded me of my father. Like the way that my dad, I've seen him take care of my mom was exactly, and even though we weren't married, is the way he would take care of me. He supported me. He always gave as much as he could for our relationship. He was so nurturing to my nieces and my nephews. So I think a lot of those traits really just spoke to me and made me feel like, okay, like this is a man that I want to marry. So that's kind of how I knew that you were the right person for me.
How I knew Rochelle was the one for me.
You sound so excited.
Okay, how I knew Rochelle was the one for me was that we're the opposite in that Rochelle she's an extrovert. She's like the social butterfly, and if you know her, you can probably already confirm that. I'm more of the introvert, and that balances us out. Hopefully they can't hear that. So she's more the type A and more of the type B, and in a lot of different aspects of our relationship, we're really opposite. Like I hate reality TV shows, and like Rochelle hates like watching like the really artistic kind of artsy fartsy movies. So like stuff like that, we're very much like polar opposites. But and some people are like, oh, like then they're not the person for you. But it's like, well, if you have all of the same interests, then like what do you, I guess in my opinion is like, how is that person like allowing you to discover like new things if you guys already like the same exact stuff? already. So I think for a lot of people, they think like, oh yeah, this person likes, you know, X, Y, and Z, so I like X, Y, and Z, so we're a perfect fit. But for me, the how I knew was that aside from us being polar opposites, like when it came to relationships, when it came to like family, when it came to like individual goals, like those things aligned perfectly, and we found a lot of similarities, if not the exact same things, in those aspects of our lives. And that's kind of how I knew that like our relationship wasn't just like, oh, we like these types of movies, we like this type of food. It was like, okay, it's like a deeper level of connection,
Right.
in our lives. Like it wasn't like surface level, like it wasn't like surface level things. And I think a lot of people think that these surface level things matter a lot, which I guess in some cases they do. But if you're really looking for some sort of like, you know, indication that that person is right for you, I would say like look for those deeper levels of connection. And I'm sure you can look past these, you know, these other things that you guys may not see eye to eye on. And but if your like relationship goals are the same, your life goals, career goals are the same, and family goals are the same, then I think, you know, you're gonna do just fine. And that's how I knew.
Yeah, and I just to kind of.
And we were just best friends, and until this day we enjoy being best friends and like talking to each other about anything. And yeah, like I remember we were able to just talk for days.
What I also have to say is that what made I feel like our relationship work too is, everyone says it, but it's so true, is like communication is so big. So like if I'm feeling something, obviously I have no problem with sharing how I'm feeling to Michael. And I think as a guy, as a man, having conversations, deep conversations are pretty difficult on how you guys are feeling. And so I've had to encourage him to speak out, you know, whatever he may be feeling. Okay, so advice for someone looking to be engaged.
Exactly what we just said. Like, make sure you look out for the, you know, communication. Like, what are your guys' values? Make sure those align.
Yeah.
Yeah. Advice for looking someone to be engaged. Like,
send Pinterest ideas, you know. Wedding, another question is wedding or elopement? So I think you can kind of answer that, but I have just a little bit to say to that, so go ahead.
Weddings or elopements, I'll say two things, and I'll get to the point, because I can go on about this, because this is my field. You do what you want to do. You do what collectively what you want to do.
Right.
Don't let any outside opinion, don't let any family members, you know, incorporate their wants and needs into your wedding day. One, because you're paying for it. This money's unless they want to pay for it, but still, even then, you're paying for it.
It's your memory though that you're creating.
So you do what you want. If you want to have a big wedding day, you have a big wedding day. And you know, if you want to elope and have something smaller, and you know, that's what you feel kind of satisfies your needs, then you elope. You don't let anyone tell you anything different, because the second part of that is, this is your wedding or your elopement day that you have to live with for the rest of your life. Those people that are injecting their wants and needs,
opinions.
and opinions, that's not their day. Obviously, they're going to give their opinion because it's not something they have to live with for the rest of their life.
Or maybe they regret doing what they did. So
and they're just
take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and they're just only saying like, oh, for my wedding you should. It's like, okay, that was your wedding. Like, my wedding day is completely, or my elopement day or whatever it is completely different. So you do what you want because of those two things.
And I just want to give my 2 cents is that I want to say we kind of did both. I wouldn't call it like an elopement because that's probably not what it was at the time, but We did
In a
have.
sense, yeah, it was.
Okay. Well, we got married before we actually had our big wedding date, and do I regret having our big wedding? Absolutely not. I loved everything about it. However, I did feel like the money that we put into it could have been spent towards our house or like more future things. But I obviously cherish the moments that we spent with each other and our family and friends. I loved everything about it. I loved being able to get a big wedding gown, doing our first dance, and doing a dance with my dad, being walked down the aisle. So those are all special moments, and it's just really hard to decide. But again, you have to think about those things. Are they going to be important later on to you, or can you live with the fact of having something smaller?
Yeah, I'll say this: when we had our like small gathering, we had Rochelle walk down the aisle. She walked with her dad. The reason why we did that was because we wanted to stay true to the date that we became boyfriend and girlfriend, the date that we got engaged, and the date that we got legally married. Is all the same. Not the same date, but they're all anniversary dates. So that's what was special to us, and that's what that's what we did. And at the end of that day, we didn't do anything crazy grand. We wanted that. The only grand thing is that we kept that date consistent throughout our relationship, and that's what meant most to us. And honestly, we left that date thinking like, wow, we're content. Like, if this was it, if we were not planning a big wedding day, we would have been totally content and fine and extremely happy with the way things turned out. But we also did a big wedding day too, also. Just to kind of satisfy those other needs. And not needs, but those other wants that we wanted for like a wedding. But yeah.
All right. So one of our last questions is, how has it been having 2 children, and has that changed your relationship?
I mean, I guess in a nutshell, like,
well, how has it been with both the children?
Well, I always joke about this, but the minute me and Rochelle wake up, every hour of our day is already accounted for. So,
and it's like we sometimes wish there was more time in the day. I mean, if we're being really honest right now, it is 11:23 at night, and we are filming this video, so there's just not enough time. And we're still trying to. He's still doing his business. So sorry, I'm sorry I cut you off, but yeah, I just wanted to every minute counts during our day.
Yeah, it's like the second you wake up, it's all right, 8 to 11, that's like all morning routine stuff. 12 to 3, that's like afternoon naps and getting lunch ready.
Yeah.
3 to 5 is like us hanging out and getting ready, getting dinner ready, and then 5 to 8 is all of our evening routines. And
we just have
8 to 12 is 8 to 10, 8 to 11:30 is us kind of picking up, cleaning and kind of doing the chores of the day, and then we go to bed around midnight 1. So
and we start the routine all over. So it's definitely changed our lives. Our priorities are changed now. It's all about our children, and we are content and we're happy about that. They are blessings in our life. But having 2 kids is no joke. It's a lot of responsibility. We are exhausted and tired, but we wouldn't change the world for it. We would do anything for these children, and they've been such a blessing in our life. I mean, I'm sure we can talk on and on about both of our boys. You see them on social media all the time. We love the time that we get with them. And like I said, even though there's things that we want to do for our own personal lives, just with them in general, I just feel like they're growing so quickly. One of the best quotes that I heard from a friend is that the days are long, but the years are short. And Rowan's already going to be 2 years old by December. And I feel like that, like time is just going by so quickly. So we try to just soak in and take every opportunity that we can, spending time with our boys. And we're just really cherishing these moments.
It's like, they're... People always tell me when they see me, they go, "You look tired." And I'm like, I am tired. Like I hope I don't show up like that to wedding days, but I am exhausted. But exactly what that what that friend shared about, the days are long but the years are short. It's like, I always think this, like, Riker is only going to be, I don't know exactly how many days, but he's only going to be 4 months and 8 days today. I'm never going to get that back. I'm never going to see that day ever again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to like live that day to the fullest, and just as much as he gets me frustrated, I'm going to cherish it, because I'm never ever going to get that day again, because I see how fast Rowan grew, and we're kind of already planning for his second birthday, which we just took down his his first birthday banner down.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think it changed our lives in a really good way.
What about our relationship though?
Well, one, we have like less time for ourselves, but the time that we do get, like, it's we try not to like waste it. We try to like be fully invested. She has to remind me, put my computer down, put my phone down.
I have to turn off my Real Housewives, so like
like our quality time has been
less,
shortened by a dramatic amount.
I think this is only...
Yeah, it's only for right now.
Yeah, exactly. I know that we're going to eventually be able to have the bed back to ourselves, because Rowan sleeps in his own crib. Riker sleeps with us right now, and that we're okay with that.
Yeah.
So we'll get to a point where things will slowly get back to how they were. But right now, this is just where we're at in our life, and we're okay with that. All right. Anything else you want to say?
Thanks for listening, and thanks for hearing me vent.
All right, guys, so thank you, yes, like Michael said, for those questions, for taking the time to watch this YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like it, ask anything in the comment section if you have any questions for us. But we appreciate the support, as always. Thank you so much.
All right. Why am you're sitting so tall?
Well, yeah, because I want my back to like... Okay. All right. Are you ready for the next question?
Yeah. Okay. Next question. And I'm very much the introvert. Oh, the thing died.